I'm just going to give everyone else just a minute or two more to arrive. Oh, there she is. Great. All right. Just give it another few seconds and then we'll start. Ah, here she is. Okay. Great. All right. So, a few things admin-wise I want to talk to you about, and then we can talk about what the plan is for today and going forward. So, I apologize first off that I did not get you feedback from homework 1 yet. I forgot last time to pull the random number while we were all together, and I debated whether I wanted to just do it on my own or wait, and I decided to wait for you guys. So I'll pull both for 1 and 2 right now, or in a minute, and then I will get them both graded this weekend, okay? So I will get you caught up on that. So that's number 1. So actually, while we're talking about it, let me go ahead and see if I can go to here and then share to that. Okay, one of my favorite random sites, in case you need a site for your research, is random.org. They actually have an area where you can cite them and all that kind of good stuff. So for homework 1, we want to generate one random integer between 1 and 10. And the number is 10, okay? So I'll look at item 10 for homework 1. And let's go back and do it again, but this time we want it to be between 2 and 10, since I gave you the answer for 1. And it's 9, okay. So it's 9 for 2 and 10 for 1. Okay. And then there's one other thing I want to talk to you guys about with respect to where we're going in terms of choosing things and those sort of things. So what we have as one of the pieces of this class are articles to review. And there'll be 8 articles, since there's 8 of you guys. And they're already posted online on D2L under articles. Okay. And I basically, you're each going to have one article that's yours that you're going to present. And the presentation date is actually listed on the, let me switch over to D2L if I can. Maybe it'll let me if I move this out of the way. And go to where the articles are, then you can see there's also a timeline for the presentation of articles. Yep, perfect. Perfect. Timeline for the presentation of articles, and you can see when each of those are supposed to happen. So in order to keep this nice and fair, here's what I've done. I have written your first names down. Hope this isn't, okay. Here we go. Your first names down on an Excel sheet. And what I'm going to do now is go to random.org one more time and choose a sequence. Let it resequence the numbers 1 to 8 in some random way. So let's do that. And then the number you get corresponds to what order you get to choose your article in. Okay, so well, just to keep things fair, I'll do it that way. So one more time, let me switch back to random. New share, come on, new share to random. And this time I want to generate a sequence, which is just nothing else. This is showing you some kind of cool features in random.org. Again, I don't know if you'll need them for your studies or not, but you never know when it might come in handy. So 1 to 8, format in one column, get the numbers. Okay. And let me copy and paste that. Hopefully it copies nicely. Yes, it did. So, wow, that came out like almost exactly backwards. Let me share it to you. Yeah, that came out almost exactly backwards. So it'll be Lindsay, Justin, Jenna, that'll be the order of when you get to choose. So why don't we do that kind of a little bit later in the session today, if we can, if you feel up for it. I would like to give the person who's going first, you know, the maximum amount of time. So maybe after our break, and we're going to have some activity. It's not going to be as much lecture today. It's going to be a little more activity. So I think you'll have time to look over and see what your preferred article is and go from there. Okay, so that's a lot of my admin stuff out of the way. In terms of what I want to do today, I have just a drop more, like under 12 slides more of material related to theoretical stuff that I want to share. Then I want to get into SPSS, okay? And I want to have you guys get as much practice with what you need to get up to, you know, get your skills where they need to be to move forward with the rest of the tests in SPSS. So if you're already there, that's great. If you're starting at the beginning, that's fine too. But I'm going to go around and try and figure out where people are at. And that's why the homework is also kind of a TBD, because I want to sort of see where everyone is, and then I can give you something that kind of matches that. So let me first ask, let me put up the slideshow, and let me first ask if you guys have either any questions from previous 2 lectures, or if you have any questions about any of the admin stuff, either that I just mentioned or that I mentioned previously.
Can you just remind me of like the homework grading policy? Like I know that you're gonna grade item 10 and item 9, but does that mean if we get both of those wrong, like we have a 0 as a homework grade?
Well, in theory, yes, but if it's really just like, if you got both of them wrong, I think I'd be awfully tempted to look at how you did on the other ones. Because I'd like to know if it's, you know, partly because I want to know, is this an issue the 2 of us should address together, or is this just, oops, you know, that one I got tired at the end, and, you know, or whatever, or something went wrong there. So the idea is that hopefully it's representative, but if it's not representative, and in particular if you feel like it's not representative, if you could, if you want to shoot me an email, let me know. That would be helpful too, just to give me a heads up. Yeah. But I want to keep you covered, even if it's not like a representative number. Okay, what else? Okay. Feel free to jump in later, again, if there are any issues with either admin questions or questions about the content. In terms of the reading for next time, remember layered statistics that I mentioned, that this is a website that you have to subscribe to. It's about $13 for 6 months, I think that's right, something around there. And that'll be really helpful. So that's where I'm pulling the reading assignment for next time. I think you can, you're going to be getting what you need from the lectures pretty much. So that is helpful to you as well. But I think if you did some skimming in there, I think you'd be okay too. So, it's a really helpful piece. But if you find it's a little bit much, feel free to look at the parts that are most pertinent, that you need the most help with to understand t-test and Mann-Whitney U-test. And like I said, we'll be talking about it next week. Okay. So let's quick review the z-test and then talk a little bit about the t-test for a single sample, because that's what's not really covered. So last time we talked about the post-traumatic checklist that happened to have a mu, or population mean, of 30.12 and a sigma, or population standard deviation, of 15 in a non-traumatized general population. So the researcher believes that people in Moore, Oklahoma will have significantly different scores on the PCL than the general population. Okay, different, that should immediately hopefully signify to you this is two-tailed, right? We're going to put 0.025 in each tail, okay? And then we sample 25 people in Moore, Oklahoma who complete the PCL and obtain a sample mean, or X bar, of 35.52 with an alpha of 0.05. That's how I knew it was 0.025 in each tail, because of the alpha. I chopped that in half. Okay. So we already talked about that it's two-tailed. Our alternative hypothesis could be people in the community of Moore, Oklahoma will have different PCL scores on average than the general population. And the null is that people in the community of Moore, Oklahoma will not have different PCL scores on average than the general population. We talked about the not feature, that is a good way to go from alternative to null. And we also talked about the on average piece. Excuse me. On average being because it may not be every single person, but on average, the means is what we're really expecting here to be different. Okay. Now, if we believe that the people in Moore, Oklahoma will have significantly higher scores, then you should be thinking a one-tailed test. Put all that alpha on the top side of the normal curve there. Okay. Then it would be one-tailed test. And alternative hypothesis and null would be virtually the same, except we'd say higher instead of different. Okay. Then in actually looking at how this could be calculated, I showed you that this was the formula, the z equals x bar minus mu over the standard error of the mean, was the formula for how you calculate it. And I also mentioned that this bottom part, the standard error of the mean, if you remember, equals sigma, or the standard deviation, over the square root of n. So then once we have that, we can kind of plug in our numbers. Okay, so x bar was 35.52, mu was 30.12. We don't have standard error of the mean up here. I don't see this symbol up here, but I do have this one, 15, and this one, 25. So I plug those in. And then I know that the square root of 25 is 5, 15 divided by 5 is 3, and 35.52 minus 30.12 is 5.40. So I end up with essentially 1.8, 1.80, whatever you like. Okay. So the reason I wanted to review this z-test is because it's really, really similar to a t-test for a single sample. Okay, so here's our two-tailed, here's our one-tailed. Now I want you to look at this z-test versus t-test for a single sample. They both compare a sample mean to a population mean. So that's the same. The population mean is known for both. In both cases, we know mu. But in the z-test, the population variance or population standard deviation or population standard error of the mean, something with a sigma, is known. With a t-test for a single sample, it's not known. So that's the big difference there. Do we know sigma? Now, why did I just say population variance or population standard deviation or population standard error of the mean? Because they're all related. If you know one, you know the others. So if I just know sigma, which is the population standard deviation, I square it to get my variance. Or I take it divided by the square root of n to get my standard error of the mean. So the big difference here is I know the variance, I don't know the variance. Okay. So because I don't know the variance in my t-test for a single sample, it has to be estimated. It has to be estimated. Okay. So again, z-test compares a sample mean to a population mean when the population variance is known. T-test for a single sample also compares a sample mean to a population mean when the population variance is unknown. So that's really the only difference we're talking about here. Okay. Now I will tell you, most of the time we're not fortunate enough to know our population variance. So it's more common, I would say more often, that you're using a t-test than you are a z-test. Okay. Okay, so because we're estimating the population variance, because we have to estimate that using what we call a sample variance, we also use a special non-normal table to find cutoff scores. Now you don't have to worry about cutoff scores because SPSS is going to provide that stuff to you. Now, even if the sample distribution of the dependent variable may not be normal, we're going to assume that the population distribution is normal. And if you remember when we were looking at all those diagrams last week, all those images, you might have seen in many cases the sample kind of looked like a little mess. You know, it didn't look particularly normal, but sometimes it came from a very normal looking sample population distribution. Okay. So then this brings us to the issue of degrees of freedom, which is the number of scores that are free to vary. And this is a worthwhile concept to get to know just a little bit about, because whatever statistic you're running, almost always you'll probably be dealing with degrees of freedom. So the kind of analogous example I like to give relates to choosing players for positions on a baseball team. So if you're a coach for a baseball team and you're assigning players to positions, you have 9 players, 9 positions. You assign one player to the first base, second base, third base, pitcher, catcher, etc. By the time you get up to the 9th player, do you need to assign that player their position, or do they already know it? Well, they already know it, right? There's only one left. That's sort of the idea here, that as we take away options, we are removing degrees of freedom. Another way to think of this is if I told you what the mean was, and then I also told you that there were three numbers. There are three numbers. First, the mean is 30. First number is 20. Second number is 40. You pretty much know what the last number is, right? I haven't left you any options. And that's basically what we're talking about. If all the deviation scores but one are known, the last score can only have one value. So in the case of a t-test for a single sample, we lose 1 degree of freedom, so df is n minus 1. Okay. All right. So as I mentioned before, there's a non-normal table that goes along with the t-test, and that relates to t-test distributions. So there's one t-distribution for each number of the degrees of freedom. And the greater the number of degrees of freedom, the closer the t-distribution is to the normal curve. Okay, so I want to show you a picture of what that looks like. Okay, we're not going to, you could, in theory, if you ever got stuck and didn't have SPSS, you could locate the appropriate cutoff sample score for rejecting the null hypothesis in the t-table, but we're going to rely on SPSS for that. So here's our t-distributions. And you can see, if your df is 2, right, and df is n minus 1, then your n must have been 3. So when your n is 3, that doesn't look particularly normal. But when your n is 21, because 21 minus 1 gives you 20, it's starting to look a lot more normal. So the higher your n is, the closer t distribution becomes to a normal distribution. Okay. That's all I wanted to share with you about Z and t-tests. Okay, that kind of closes, t-test for a single sample, I should say, that kind of closes off that area. And the next time when we rejoin, we'll be talking about t-test for independent sample and the Mann-Whitney U, and those two. And they're basically, one is an alternative to the other when you don't meet parametric assumptions, when you don't have a normal distribution. Okay, so if you have any questions, please raise them. Otherwise, I'm going to move into SPSS stuff. Okay. All right, well, please feel free to raise them, as I said, if they come up a little bit later. But in the meantime, what I would like to do is just get a sense from people as to, first of all, let me change this so I can see everyone, kind of, maybe, if I make this bigger. Sorry, I'm trying to see my names in front of me. Perfect. Okay, great. So my first question is anyone using just the RAM cloud version of SPSS?
I am.
You are, Brian. Okay, thanks.
I am too.
You are.
So
Okay.
I am as well for now.
You are as well for now. Okay.
I also am for now.
Who was the last one? I'm sorry.
Emily, I also am for now.
Emily, okay, great. So so really about half of you are using the RAM cloud, and the other half of you got the SPSS, you bought it, or you have access to it. Let's put it that way. Right? Okay.
Kind of. Sorry, I bought it. I've been waiting on a verification email for a couple of days now. I've asked to get the verification code multiple times. I haven't gotten it yet. So I guess I'll use the Ramcast, but I did purchase it. I don't know what's going on there.
Okay, yeah, you can definitely use the RAM cloud for today, and I hope that works out and you get what you're supposed to get that you paid for. Yeah, okay, all right. So, and something coming up here. Give me 1 second. Oh, Okay. Got it. Okay. So, yeah, it sounds like people had to call them to get the verification code and also check their spam box, and it might be sitting there. So, yeah, you might have to, I guess, take some action to get it. That's rather unfortunate. But at least you two got it, so that's good. Okay. All right. So slightly different versions. That's okay. We'll work with that. And then my next question, then, I'll definitely want to talk about saving a little bit if you're on the RAM cloud, unless you are already very comfortable with that. If you're not, you have an easy time. You just save it and it goes where you hope it's going to go. On the RAM cloud, it gets a little tricky. So the other thing I wanted to just assess is how comfortable are you with SPSS? Are you really comfortable entering data? Are you really comfortable with recoding? How about getting descriptives out? So if it's okay, I'd like to go around and ask different people how you feel, so I can kind of figure out how to structure the rest of today to best meet all your guys' needs. So just looking at my screen, Lindsay, would you mind starting?
Sure. I've literally never seen it. I've never used it. I don't know anything about it. So
Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to get you can hang out for the lecture on it then, if you don't mind, because that'll hopefully be helpful to you, and we can give you a nice start on it. That's perfectly fine. I'm just trying to assess, where people are at. Jenna?
I've used it for research before. It's been a year, but I think like navigating it will come back like once I have data sets to manipulate.
Okay, cool. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Hortensia?
Yeah, I definitely need a refresher on it. I've used it before, but it's been 2 years for me, so.
Okay, definitely. Okay, so we'll do a little refresher here. Okay. And Justin?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as those two. I've used it, I guess now more than 3 years ago, but it's been a while.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. And how about you, Brian?
I've used it in my research lab last school year, so I'll definitely need a refresher.
Okay, no problem. We can totally do that. Yep. Emily?
Same thing as Brian. I used it last spring, but a refresher would definitely be helpful.
Okay, we can accomplish that. Yep. And Erin?
I use it really regularly, unfortunately. Over the summer, I did a lot of data cleaning with like computing and recoding, and now I'm doing some analysis with it.
Oh, wow. Okay, so you are truly familiar, I think, from what you're sharing. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll try and think of what you might want to play around with. Okay.
I'm definitely here for any refreshers, though, for sure.
Okay. Great. And Chica?
Yeah, unlike everybody else, I used it like I think 2 years ago, so I would definitely like a refresher.
Okay, cool. All right. So thank you for that. That's really helpful to me. So I have a basic refresher here that goes through everything from data view and variable view, all the way through kind of just taking you through some data stuff. And then I have a nice exercise that you can do in data entry, if that's where you're at. If you haven't really touched it before, or if you're really feeling rusty, that would be my recommendation. And you'll see under SPSS information on D2L that I have a few different data sets there. And the first one is SPSS data entry tutorial. So if you're in that boat, I recommend hanging out and going ahead, listening to what I share with you about that, and then going ahead and trying that data entry. I have a second set that's set up for recoding. So if you feel like I'm pretty comfortable with data entry, but recoding is something I kind of need to work on a little bit, then you might be ready to start with that after I kind of just talk through this a little bit. Or you can start on your own if you feel comfortable kind of using the layered guide to statistics for recoding. And finally, if you have done both of those things and you feel like I would just like to kind of mess around with the data set and make sure I'm comfortable with it, then there is the lovely cross-species intelligence data set that I made. It's kind of a humorous one. And you are welcome to check that one out and just see if you're comfortable doing some, you know, for your categorical variables, doing some frequency, some percentage stuff, looking at bar charts, those sort of things. And then for your more continuous variables, doing stuff like means and variance and standard deviation and, looking at those sort of things. So, and maybe even putting two together and going from there. So, I guess what I'll do is I am happy to put anyone in a breakout room if you want to move on at this point. So just let me know if you'd like me to put you in a breakout room, and I will do so, and you can play around with one of those data sets. If you'd like to just hang out, no need to do anything, and I'll start in just a minute and give you a minute just to tell me if you'd like to go to a breakout room. Okay. No takers yet, which is perfectly fine. I made this for a reason. I'm happy to walk you through this and just, refreshers are nice. I like refreshers. So, okay, if you change your mind, let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to kind of get going here. So when you open SPSS, first of all, when you immediately first open SPSS, you will typically see a little window that says, oh, which of these files would you like to open? You can X out of that window, and then you'll see something that looks a little bit like this. Almost looks like an Excel sheet, but it has two tabs at the bottom, a data view and a variable view. And that's part of what gives SPSS some of its power. And I want to walk through some of the variable view options and talk about what we can do there. And we'll also talk about some data view options. Okay, so the variable view screen lets you set up, edit, remove, include additional variables, and specify their properties. Okay, and the idea is you want to set up your variables before you start entering new data on the data view screen. Okay. Data view screen, on the other hand, lets you view, enter, and edit the actual data within your data set. Okay. So let's talk about some of these variable properties that are outlined in this slide. We have name, we have type, which there are many types. You can do date format, you can do a custom format, you can do a string format. Most people either choose numeric or string. And I don't typically recommend using string unless it's really like a comment that you're trying to capture and there's really no numeric that you can attach to it. But if you can attach a numeric, even if it's something like, different genders and you're trying to capture, some of those, or if it's something like favorite flavor ice cream and you're trying to capture that, I still recommend doing it as numeric and just assigning numbers to the different categories. Okay. So that's where you can choose your different options. I'll let it tell me. So the name is just your name, just your unique name for the variable. It must begin with a letter. It's a little bit more lenient now. I think they allow you 32 characters, but you generally want to keep your names nice and tight, nice and short. It used to be an 8-character thing, and then they upped it a bit. But you'd like to keep your names tight and short. What you can later do is use a label to describe it any way you like. Okay. Also in names, yeah, you can't have any spaces. And you can't have any funny characters like the $sign or the caret sign, or it doesn't like any of those. Okay. Oh, 64 characters, excuse me. Okay, so this database, we had 2 variables, gender and age. Okay, and I already described numeric and string to you. And then you can actually, if you have a numeric, you can choose the width and the decimal places. Okay, with string variables, you still want to choose your width. And in both cases, you want to be careful because you don't want to cut yourself off. So if you only, and you can go back and change it later, but if you were doing a number and you thought, oh, I only have 2 digits here, and so you made it really small, the width, you could go back and increase it later, but generally 8 and 2 for numeric variables is pretty good. Okay. There's your decimals. There's the label, and like I said, if you don't put anything in the variable label here, it will just go ahead and use what you typed in for your name, but it's a good place where you can capture anything additional that you want about the name or about a description of your variable. Okay. Yeah, you can put anything you want in the label, spaces, $signs, whatever you like. Values assigns text labels to the numbers within categorical variables. So let's take I kind of well, I want to show you how it actually works. Let's see if I can. Thought I had my SPSS open here. I guess it closed. Sorry. All right, I'll show you that later. Okay, so we were on values, and basically the way it works is if you click in the little blue section that's to the right in the value that you would like to change, up pops a new box. And in that box, here we go, in that box you can go ahead and enter 1 is female, 2 is male, 3, 4, etc., etc. And after each one that you enter, just make sure you hit add. Okay, and then when you're done, you can hit OK. Okay. So that's really handy. I'm just going to go back here for 1 second. That's really handy because when you go into your data view later, it's remembering that for you. Okay, so if you later say, oh, wait, I have all just these 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s here, what do they mean? You can go back into your value labels and look, or there's something special in the data section you can check off and it'll tell you right away. Okay. Missing. So I love using a missing value, and what it is it tells SPSS what not to process. So let's say you have someone who fills this out and they don't enter their age. They didn't want to enter their age. They filled out your survey. So when you're entering that into SPSS, you could just leave it blank and that would be fine. However, if you look back at it and you might wonder, wait a minute, did that really not exist? Or did I just not enter it? Or did I skip a space? So I don't know. I don't know if you would have those kind of thoughts, but some people might. And if you do, what you could do instead of just leaving it blank is enter 999 or whatever you like. And then here you would just indicate, again, hitting the little blue tab, this pops up and you could say, these are my discrete missing values. If I entered 999, for example, that means that this is missing, you should not process it. And the other thing that's nice about missing values is you can, as they did here, say not only is 999 missing, but 888 means that they responded in some erroneous way. Like if they under age put old enough, Maybe you don't want to, mark that as missing. Maybe you want to mark that as something else entirely, and you can do that using the missing values. Okay. Okay. Columns, just how many characters wide for the variable on the data view screen. That's all it tells you. The align, left or right align. It's most typically right for numbers and left for string variables, but you can make it however you like. The measure. Typically people use nominal for categorical and scale for continuous, but there is, as they mentioned, also an ordinal that you could use if you like. And it's not necessarily the most important piece to do, but if you select nominal for a scale variable and then you try to set it up as, a DV and a t-test, let's say, it might not be happy with you. So there's some value in actually setting that correctly. Okay. I never mess with this one. This is a relatively new one. Role defines how a variable will be used in statistical analyses. I always keep it as input. I think you can too. Okay. Right. Okay. Now, once you come into the data view, now you can start entering 1s and 2s here and the ages here. And this is the little thing I wanted to show you. It's often called the toe tag, but it's also called the value labels icon. And if you click it, if you put your 1s and 2s in or 3s and 4s, excuse me, for different gender values, and then you click this, it will show you, oh, 3 was this. And it'll just switch it in the data like it did here. So these were 1s and 2s. Person hit that toe tag and it became male and female in this particular case. Okay. And it'll do as many as you want, as many categories as you like, as you have entered. In fact, you could even define, again for age, you could have defined a under value label. You could have defined 999 means missing. And then if you click the toe tag and you had a 999, it would identify it as missing. Okay. And here it's showing you that a little bit more nicely. Okay. Code books. Now, code books are typically used when you have a little bit bigger, more elaborate data sets, and you're trying to describe every variable in some detail. It's typically compiled by, hopefully, a member of the initial research team. If you are using for your dissertation a pre-existing data set, you may be looking at a code book. And it might tell you the different values that exist for different variables. It might tell you different ranges. Okay. So here's an example of the code book from the rather simple data that we were just looking at before. We have gender, which is the gender of respondent. And in this case, they only chose to have 2 categories as just shown here. Again, we could have had as many categories as we liked. Here we have age and age of respondent, which is a continuous variable. And you might even have some more information in your code book, depending on, again, how much detail is needed. Okay. Saving. Yes, the save icon allows you to save your SPSS database. An SPSS database will be saved with the .sav suffix. Okay. So saving. Again, if you own the program, saving's an easy thing. You just hit save. It's probably going to want to save to your documents file, and boom, it's saved. If you went ahead and are using the RAM cloud, then what you do is you hit save the same way, and it tells you that it's going to save to the documents, but it's lying. it's not actually going to save to your your hard drive documents if that's where you want it to go. It's saving in the cloud. And the only problem with that is I have had students tell me consistently over the years they can't find it once it's up in the cloud. Now, in theory, it should be in the same place that they saved it. But I don't know if I entirely trust it personally. So what I like to do if I'm working in RamCloud is I will hit save, and then I'll show you how to do this in a few minutes. I'll open up an SPSS file so you can see in RamCloud. So I hit save, and then I use the arrow to go all the way up to my C drive. Once I'm there, I go ahead and hit the C drive, right? It'll be local computer C:. That's usually what it looks like. I hit that, and then from there I select users, I select my name, and then I can select documents or wherever I'd like to go. A slightly better way around that, just to avoid the users and the name and the intermediary steps, is to have a thumb drive that you keep, and then you still have to go up, but at least you could just go up to your thumb drive name, maybe it's D: or E:, and save it there. So that's saving with the RamCloud. The other little feature about the RamCloud that I'm a little hesitant about is that sometimes it will like log out on you. So you just have to be aware and make sure that if you're on the RamCloud that it's staying logged in, so you don't lose anything. I personally have not had many issues with it logging out on me. Like it'll log out, but it'll still let me continue working. So I haven't had that issue, but I figure it's better to be safe than sorry when it comes to these things. Okay. All right, so that's the end of the slideshow I have for you. Again, this just covered, I'm going to escape out of this. Okay, this just covered how to enter data into SPSS. So if you're brand new, hopefully that, or if you needed a little refresher, hopefully that refreshed your memory about, you know, how do I get data in? How do I actually start that process? In terms of, let me open up. I'm going to open up an actual SPSS for you. Maybe. Thought I had this open already. Okay, sorry about that. So SPSS is opening, and once I have SPSS open, I'll share it with you once it opens. There we go. Again, I close that, I go. Let me just do a new share so I can show you this. So once I have a data file, and we'll choose eye color and jumping jacks completed in 1 minute. Okay, and so I could go nicer here and make this actually jumping jacks, but you can kind of see how the label can come in handy if I want to say more about that. So now I have a couple of variables here, right? And if I just do that, and if I put in a couple of variables here, etc., then I can start playing around with this in terms of either if I want to recode something or if I want to actually do a descriptive analysis. And I just want to show, especially for someone if they haven't seen it before, if you haven't seen this before, when you go under Analyze and just go under Descriptive Statistics, I can do frequencies for my eye color. Now, I wasn't nice and actually identified the different colors here, but I could hit OK, and it would bring up immediately what's called an output window, and it would show me how many different people have the different eye colors, right? And the different percentages and valid percent, etc. Okay. Similarly, if I go under Analyze, and it doesn't matter from which screen you go under Analyze, and go to Descriptive Statistics, and this time I'll go to Descriptives, and I'll choose Jumping Jacks, and I might want to go ahead and get a mean, a standard deviation, a min, a max. I'll get a variance, I'll get a range, I'll have some fun here, and then hit continue and hit OK. Similarly down here, I get some nice, interesting descriptive information about the jumping jacks. And then if I wanted to do something fancier, I could do an explore, where I look at jumping jacks, which is my dependent in a sense, by eye color. And then I could look at certain statistics like descriptives. I could look at plots. This is nice. It's just a stem and leaf. Let's do a histogram. Let's do that. And then if I hit OK, and just do my best to show you what comes up this way. There we go. And you can see that it gives the mean and different statistics for each level of eye color for the jumping jacks. Okay. So that's the main stuff I wanted to at least show you. I'm more than happy to kind of direct you or answer any particular questions, especially if you feel like something might come up for your dissertation. And if not, what I would think you might want to do is play around with one of either doing some data entry, trying your hand at some recoding, or doing some descriptive statistics. And those are all up on D2L for you. For those of you using RamCloud, is there anyone using RamCloud who would want an introduction of how to even set it up? Which is fine. I just want to check if anyone, you know, if you've already like gone into RamCloud and set it up, or if you need the new instructions as to how to do that, I can kind of show you where that is.
What do you mean by set it up? Like input data?
No, I mean just like get it open.
Oh no, it's fine. I got it.
You got it. Okay, no problem. Yeah. So that's what I meant. Like just actually being able to, you know, download the Citrix receiver, open the apps, do that kind of stuff. So I just wanted to make sure you were all good with that. So how about if we how about if I let you work on that a little bit, and if you'd like to work in a group, like if you want to work with someone else, I can put you in a breakout room together if you just let me know that. If you'd like to work on your own, that's fine too. I can put you all in separate breakout rooms and then check in on you. Although I think it's handy to have, I don't know, it's up to you guys. But I'll leave you all here unless you tell me you'd like to go to a breakout room either by yourself or with someone else. And if you'd like to do that, I'll do that. Otherwise, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, try out one of the exercises and see where you can go with it. And again, if you're really rusty, try the SPSS data entry tutorial, I think. I think that's kind of user-friendly, and there's an exercise to complete on page 6 that's kind of nice and just gets you into some data entry. If you want to try some descriptives like I just did, you know, try the cross-species data. And if you're really into recoding or think you'd like to be into recoding, look at that other file, the samples one, the scaling. Excuse me, the scaling one. And if you'd like some help, I can show you a little bit more about how to recode with that. Yeah, let me look. Yeah, the recoding. Yeah. So if you'll notice, if you open that data set, there's one variable that 1 is very false and 5 is very true. And there's another variable where it's the reverse. 1 is very true and 5 is very false. So I would take Q2 and recode it so that it looks like Q1. Okay, and if you want some help or assistance, looking at that, but if you go under transform recode, you might be able to kind of see how to get started there, but feel free to ask. And for any of you working with surveys or rating scales, this could be a real thing that comes up. Am I essentially saying you need to reverse code question 2? Yeah, that's essentially what I'm saying. So I think, Erin, that might be, I think if I'm remembering correctly, you had a lot of experience, so maybe that's an easy one. But that's the idea. There's also examples out there when maybe if you have, this is a sad thing, but it happens all the time in research. If you sample different people's races and you only wind up with one person who's of a single race and it's making your cell size too small, sometimes people will collapse it. And that's another kind of recoding, right? Where you might do 1 is this category, 2 is that category, 3 is other. Now, I'm not saying there aren't problems with that, but I am saying that that is something that happens in recoding. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if you did have to do that recently. Oh, whoops. Sorry about that. Just, yes, I would be more than happy to walk you through the data entry tutorial activity. So what I'm going to do is set up a little, I'll set up a breakout room and then I'll join you there in just a moment, I think. I'm going to try anyway.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Oh, yeah, and someone else would like to join if that's okay, Brian.
Fine.
So let me set out a breakout room for both of you guys. All right, hang on one second. I'm just gonna set up like, well, let me just set up 2 rooms for now. See if this works. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So if you 2 folks want to join the breakout room, I'll join you in just a second. Oh, that works too. Okay.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, so let's talk about this activity. So I know you texted me a little bit about where you were at, and where are you at, Brian? Where have you gotten to?
I guess I'm between step 2 and 3.
Okay, yeah, no problem, no problem. Would I guess I can share my screen maybe. Let's see if that'll work. Because I would like to look at a screen while we do this.
Okay.
Just any screen, it really doesn't matter. So if I share my screen and I go to here, okay, so at least you can see SPSS in front of you. So I think the thing that gets sticky is creating the new scale variable. Is that right?
Yeah.
Or is it before that, Brian?
I don't know. Just
You know, okay. So should we start? Let's start at the beginning, maybe. Is that good? Okay,
Yeah.
let's start at the beginning. So let's do that. That's no problem. Okay, you know what? Let me just, if you don't mind, let me quick check in and see, because if other people are already feeling that there's nothing challenging, maybe we'll do the article real quick, and then I know there's a timeline here, but I think we can still get through this pretty quickly. So, well, let me get you through a little bit, and then I'll do that. Okay. Because I know you have a timeline. So okay, so we opened the new data set. We good with that?
Yeah, and I put like the whole cat underscore dog. I changed it to numeric. I did the width 3.0.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. And did you do you like cats or dogs better, and 1 for cats and 2 for dogs on their value labels, or did that get where it
Where
got?
do I input that at? If I go to data view?
So you go to variable view
Okay.
and you go under values. And if this is like my eye color and your cat dog, I would say 1 is, are you able to see what I'm doing?
Oh yeah, okay.
1 is blue, 2 is green, add, 3 is brown, add. You only have 2, I think, but does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So you got that. And then the next step would be to create a scale variable called neatness that has a width of 8 and 3 decimal places. So I'll just change this to neatness. Width of 8, 3 decimal places. And here's where I was pointing to. See under here, this measure?
Yeah.
That's where you can enter it as scale.
Okay.
Okay, so is that good so far?
Yeah, I think I got it. I mean, like I can't type that fast, but I think I
Oh
can.
yeah, sorry. Yeah, I don't mean to go in too fast for you. And then here you would type Eric Cartman, you know, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, where it asked you to put a label in.
Okay,
I'm
so
mistyping it, but
using the cat dog
yeah,
example,
yeah.
so when I put in case 1 prefers cats and has a neatness of 4, do I go to the values column and then input the information there?
No, this is where you want to switch over to data view.
Okay.
And so when you're right, when you now go to step 4, case 1 prefers cats. So cats was 1, if I remember correctly, and the neatness would be 4.
Okay, and which column and row would I put that in?
So the first case should go in the first row, and then you should have labels at the top that will say cat, dog, and neatness, because you
Okay.
set that up under variable view.
All right, so yeah, let me go back to the variable view. So I put neatness right under where it says cat underscore dog.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what other information would I put in?
So right now it looks like it just wants 2 pieces of information per case.
Okay.
So for case 1, it's 1, 4. For case 2 prefers dogs, so that's a 2. And then the neatness would be a 3. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
So it's just 2 numbers per case, really, because there's only 2 variables per case. So each case is a different person. Think of it that way. So you
Okay.
asked all these different people, 8 different people, do you prefer cats or dogs, and what's your neatness level?
Okay.
And now you're like inputting their data for those 8 people.
Okay, I think I got it. Yeah, I think I got it.
Okay. Play around with it a little bit. Let me just check in with everyone else and see how they're doing, if that's okay.
Yeah.
How are you doing, Lindsay? Are you all right?
I think I did it. I saved it and then something else came up. It says like output 1. I don't.
Oh,
can I
don't worry. But yeah, you can show me. You can show me that I know what you're talking about. But yeah, show me.
It says you're going to stop screen sharing. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Can you see it?
Yeah, don't worry about saving the output file. So just you can X out of that output file. Yep. So X out of it and say no, you don't care to save it.
So then what do we do with this though? Do we want to see it in like a graph or anything, or like
You could. Now that would be the next step. If you'd like to actually create some output with this, you could. So like what might be something interesting to look at?
So is that when you went here and you did this?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
So I might do descriptives for maybe the neatness one, because that's a continuous variable.
And then you did all this other stuff, right?
Yeah, just some information. You can do whatever you like there.
Okay, and then this comes up.
Now the output comes up and it's meaningful, right? Because now you have some information in your output file. That's everything you just asked for.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so you will have either 2 or 3 files, or windows, I should say, in SPSS. First one is your data variable window that you were just looking at, and the second one is your output window that gives you the information that you ask it for. Now there's a third file called syntax, but I don't think we're going to get into that too much. That's if you actually wanted to save your code like see that thing at the top that says descriptives, variables?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you wanted to save that separately, you could do that using a syntax file. And I could show you how to do that, but I don't think it's really necessary at this point.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course, yeah. So let me just quick, if that's okay with you guys, I'd like to check in with the others real quick and then come back and see what's going on.
All right, Lindsay, can I share my screen with you so you can see if
Yeah.
All right, hold up.
Hi, I'm back. Who's still here? Oh, okay. So Jenna, what's going on with you? Is this kind of easy peasy? Is it helpful? What's going on?
Yeah, I was just confused for a second when I was doing the transform. Does it just not populate the value names when you create a new variable?
You would have to create the new value names if you'd like to do that.
Okay.
And there is a way to actually do that, but yeah. So what was it doing? It was like recoding it, but not holding on to your value, the actual labels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does it change if I like do create same variable?
The only thing I don't love about creating a same variable as opposed to a new recoded variable is what if you get confused about what's what?
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? What if you can't remember wait, did I recode that? And if you don't save all your syntax and save all your code, you might not remember. So I always like to recode things in a new recoded variable.
Yeah.
And then you can just go back into value labels and in your new recoded variable, copy and paste from Q1 over to Q2R.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, that's just an easier way. Why retype everything?
Yeah.
Okay. And Hortensia, how are you doing?
I'm having issues with my SPSS download, so.
Oh, is it, are you on RAM Cloud?
Yeah, I've had this issue before with my computer. So it's just, my computer's just really old at this point.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have, yeah, sorry, I've just like,
No,
gonna
it's
have to use another computer to download it, so.
okay. I totally understand. Yeah. So if there's anything I can do for you, like if you want office hours to catch up or something, let me know. But, you know, I'm probably going to try to pretty soon, if people are feeling done, you know, bring people back in the main room so we can choose articles and then, you know, let people kind of go where they want to go from there.
Yeah, I think this weekend I'm gonna catch up a little bit, and then I'll definitely follow up with you during those office hours.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds super. Okay. So, let me just check in with this other room and I'll be back.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, I just wanted to join you for a second. I noticed you all went to this room, so I just want to check in and see where we're at. I know there's 4 of you in here, so I'll try and check in individually. Erin, if I remember correctly, you were the one who had a ton of SPSS experience. So how are you doing? Is this kind of just pretty easy? Is there anything I can do for you? Anything like that?
This is helpful. I am learning. I didn't know about that feature you showed where you can switch in the variable or in the data view, you can look at like what's coded and what the representation is.
Oh,
That was
cool.
really, I didn't know that, so that's really cool. Yeah, this is helpful. I feel like I'm still learning even though I have some experience.
Yeah, no, that's I just wanted to check in. I wanted to make sure no one's too bored or anything. And they're finding stuff to kind of keep it interesting, at least for a little bit longer. And then what
Yeah,
I'll think I'll do is in a little while, I'll bring everyone back to the main room and we'll at least choose articles and then I'll let people decide what they want to do from there.
Sounds good.
Okay. And Emily, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean, after not looking at it for 4 or 5 months. I was skeptical, but looking at it again, like it kind of just, it's coming right back. So that's good.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Glad to hear it. And Chica, how are you doing?
Yeah, can you hear me? My air conditioning is going crazy. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
I can totally hear you. You're fine.
Yeah, I was super unfamiliar and then I opened it and stuff started coming back to me. So I think I just need to play around a little bit more and figure out like where I know what I'm doing and where I'm kind of forgetting stuff. But so
Okay.
far,
Okay, great, great. I'm glad to hear it. And Justin, I remember we chatted, you were using RamCloud for today. How's that going?
It was going okay for a little bit. It was coming back to me like they were all saying, and then it crashed. I'm not sure exactly what happened. I had, so I had Ramcat
Oh,
and then SPSS. I have downloaded from I guess 3 years ago. That opened at the same time, and both those things crashed. I don't really know what happened. My
right.
computer's like whacking out right now, so
Okay.
I'm struggling to try to reopen it.
Okay, I got you. Okay, good luck with that. I'm going to check in with my other group, and then, like I said, I think I'm going to bring everyone back into the main room pretty shortly, just so we can choose articles, and then I'll let people do what they'd like.
Sounds good.
Okay, okay, sounds good. Okay. Oh,
We were
okay.
just wondering what we should do with the next data set, the scale questions example.
Oh, okay. That one's probably the most challenging one. I might, if you're newer, I might go ahead and play with the cross species one first. I know I put them in reverse order, but I still might play with the cross species one first and do a little bit of those descriptive statistics I was showing you before. Like for example, you could do, I think actually but you started doing that with the actual data set you were playing with the cat dog one, didn't you? Okay. Did you try the explore function?
No.
Try the explore. That's a fun one.
Where is that?
Yeah, where is it?
Okay, so it's under, hang on, I always have to look. Come on, give me what I need. Okay, under analyze, under descriptive, third one down is explore. And then you could put the factor list is usually your nominal or categorical variable, and your dependent list is usually your continuous variable.
Can you say that again? Sorry.
Sure. Yeah, the factor one, the one that says factor, is usually where you put your categorical variable, the one that has, like cats or dogs or eye color or what have you. And the dependent one is where I'd put my continuous variable. And you just move things over by using the arrows or actually kind of carrying them over.
Oh, I was looking at the wrong one.
Oh, okay.
The one that you said was more difficult. I'm gonna.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't use that one right now.
Okay.
Now, so you play with that. Lindsay, have you played with Explorer? Are you playing with Explorer? Trying to play with Explorer? Okay. So I'll just tell you that the scale one, the trick there is that one of them is coded where 1 equals very true and 5 equals very false, and the other one is coded where 1 equals very false and 5 equals very true. So if this was an actual like scaled item that you had was where some were reverse coded, you'd want to code it back, right? And so the lesson there is how to recode a variable. So if you're done playing with this part and you want to open that one up, I can show you how you'd recode a variable.
Sure.
Okay.
Is that still under the cross species intelligence data or the?
No, that's actually the Q one, the other one, the scale one. because I forgot you had already done some of that descriptive stuff.
Okay. I have the scale questions example, right? That's the one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then once you have it, do you have it open yet? Or is
Mm-hmm.
this, okay, perfect. What you want to do is go under transform and recode into different variables.
Okay.
Then you would take your, let's say you want to recode Q2. You would take Q2 over into the big window that says input and output variable.
Mm-hmm.
And then under the output variable name, you would maybe type in Q2 recode or whatever you like.
Does it also need a label?
No, that's voluntary.
And then you press
It's optional.
change.
Press change, you got it. And then you go into the old and new values. And then you would say that under old value, 1 equals new value 5. And then you'd hit add.
It's not letting me use my equal sign.
You don't have to. So it's just on the under, actually as opposed to trying to do it like this, let me come back to Zoom here. Oh, that's right. That's okay. He had last choice anyway. I just realized Brian probably left, but he didn't get much of a choice. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So that's fine. Okay. So can you show me your screen? It'd be a little bit easier. Okay. So, right. So see where it says value, just type a 1 there. And then under the right side where it says new value, type a 5. Then hit add. It's going to take all your 1s and put them to 5s.
Oh. Oh, wait. So this is what happens if you have, like, if your entire data set, like if you coded 5s as 1s or something like that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, because this happened in our lab and I had to go, we didn't use this. I went through and changed everything myself. They were all messed up.
Oh my goodness. No, this is far easier. Yeah. So you could do this going forward.
Yeah, now I'm really happy I know this.
So you would have gone 2 to 4, 3 to 3, 4 to 2, 5 to 1. You would have continued the pattern.
Oh,
Right?
okay, because they're all messed up?
Because they're all messed up, right.
Okay.
So your 2 becomes a 4. Your 3 you don't have to enter because it's staying the same, but you can for completeness if you want. Or you can just go on to 4 is 2. And 5 is 1. So it's a reverse code, right? You want all your very trues to now be very false, and you want all your very false to be very true.
Okay, that makes sense.
Does it? Okay, good, 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 good. And then if you hit continue and hit OK, there's your new variable. And if you go under data view real quick, you'll see how it has the opposite. Actually, you should have done 3 to 3. My apologies. I guess it didn't like that you didn't do 3 to 3. So you could fix it by hand, or you could go back in and.
Wait, what was it?
Do you see what I was saying, that the 3s were wrong?
Yeah.
Okay. So you could fill those in by hand if you wanted to, because you
just
didn't
these
put.
2?
Yeah, it's just those 2. There were 3s. So they were supposed to stay 3s, and I forgot that if you're creating a new variable, that you should actually tell it that.
And how did we get there to begin with? To recode it?
It was transform.
Transform, okay.
And then recode into different variables.
Okay. Was there like a step-by-step for this too? I didn't see any actual instructions.
Yeah, if you go under layered, remember the layered statistics thing that we talked about? If you go there, and go to SPSS statistics and then basic, it will actually show you how to do a recode step by step. Do you see
Okay.
it?
No, can I show you that I have?
Yeah.
I have layered up, but I don't know why.
Okay, so no, you're fine. Go under Getting Started, SPSS statistics at the top, Getting Started to the left, all the way to the left.
Wait, I went to the right.
See the Getting Started over here?
Oh, okay, that's
And
my
then,
problem.
yeah, and then you see how there's like reverse coding under basics? A little further down. There you go.
Yeah.
That'll give you some instructions about it.
Okay, I was looking for the ones, like in the beginning of class, you asked us to look on here for other things, and I couldn't find those either. I didn't realize there was
Oh, for the
other...
for the reading, if you go under statistical tests and then go all the way to the right, differences between groups, the top one is independent samples t-test, and then go about halfway down and you'll see Mann-Whitney U. You passed it.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay, that's the two we should read.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right, now I'm glad I know how to use this.
Okay,
website.
good. I'm glad. Okay, I'm going to try and bring everyone back together so we can actually choose articles.
Thank you so much for your help.
Of course, yeah, my pleasure. So let me go. Where's my breakout rooms? Why aren't you cooperating? Here's my breakout rooms, and let me just kind of close all rooms, and they should all be back in about a minute. I think almost everyone's back. There we go. Great. Hi. Welcome back. I just want to go ahead and take a minute to choose articles. I know Brian had to unfortunately leave a little bit early tonight, but I think he got the last choice anyway based on his how it worked out for him. So I think he just kind of gets what's left over anyway. So let me share this screen. And yeah, he did have number 8. So I don't know if you've gotten to look in D2L yet or got to see your choices, but I guess if you want to take a 5-minute break, I'm happy to do that. Someone let me know. Other than that, let's jump in and just do the article thing.
Yeah, I can just do the first one, the t-test for independent samples.
Okay, that works out well. I'm not spelling very well. But... Okay. Justin, do you know what your preference is?
I'm sorry, I'm looking now.
Oh, yeah, take your time. Yeah, I think we're okay. We're going to obviously end early tonight, so I think we're in good shape.
Can I do the Mann-Whitney U test?
Sure. And Jenna, you're next.
I would like the ANOVA.
The ANOVA one, sure, you got it. And Emily, you're next.
Okay, I'm just taking a look at them real quick. Hold on.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Like I said, we have extra time tonight.
Or I would be if my computer didn't decide to crash right now.
Oh no. I can share with you what they are if that's helpful.
Yes, that would be lovely.
Okay, yeah, let me get to it real quick.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem. So we already had, okay, t-test. What's left is t-test for dependent samples, Wilcoxon signed rank test, simple linear regression, multiple linear regression, and chi-square.
I'll assume multiple linear regression.
You got it. Okay. And Chica, you're next.
Okay. I was gonna do multiple linear, so I have to. I have to. I guess simple linear.
Yeah, I'll give you
I was gonna do ANOVA, so.
So we're good. Emily, you got multiple linear and you have simple linear. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so next is Hortensia, please.
Okay, 1 second. I was
No problem.
So I guess there's there's 3 left.
Yes, there's only 3 left. So it's, I believe it's dependent samples T. I can look again if you need me to tell them to you. It's dependent samples T, Wilcoxon signed rank, and chi-square.
I guess I can do the chi-square.
The chi-square? Okay, nice choice. Okay, Erin, it's up to you.
I was going to choose the chi-square. I'm sorry. So what even is a Wilcoxon sign rank test?
It is what you do when a dependent samples won't work. A dependent samples t-test won't work because you actually don't have normality or you don't meet other criteria.
That one sounds scary.
Okay.
I'll put a man Whitney U test in there. Just pick it.
You know what, that one, I'll do that one. What the
Which
heck?
one?
The Wilcoxon sign
Oh,
rank
okay,
test.
okay.
I don't want to give it to Brian.
Okay.
While we're on the topic, what's a man Whitney U test? I think we touched on it earlier.
Yeah, it's exactly the same sort of analogous thing for independent samples. So if you don't meet criteria for independent samples, you would do a Mann-Whitney U test.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, looks like we have everything chosen. Wow, I really can't spell tonight. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. So it looks like we have everything chosen. Great. And I might have, actually it doesn't matter because it's Brian, he probably won't look at it right this second, but I think I might have put up the wrong article for t-test for dependent samples, so I'll fix it. But other than that, I guess I owe you guys a little bit of something to practice with. The reality is, I just want you to practice with what's most helpful to you. So maybe let me think about it. Let me see if there's something I want to share with you to practice on. If there is, I'll share it either today or tomorrow with you. And it won't be much, but just something maybe to continue your practice, because I feel like you'll have, just trying to get through the t-test and the Mann-Whitney U and getting some understanding of that will also keep you guys up and running. So let me think about that, and like I said, I'll get back to you within the next day with something there. Other than that, are there any other questions regarding SPSS or anything else I can answer for you at this time?
I have a question, but I don't want to hold everybody up. It's not related to this. I just have a general stat SPSS question.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, so I think there's one other person I'm going to chat with. So if you would hang back and Erin hang back, and then the rest of you have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Okay,
Hi.
perfect. Hi, Erin. What's up?
I just had a question. I'm working with Deanne on that data set that you have consulted with us in
Oh,
the
yeah.
past.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have a question for you. I was working on running a chi-square, and now I have layered, so I can like use that. And in the past, when I've done an SPSS, I haven't weighted the cases. Is that necessary to do?
Oh, it's the easiest way is for me to just show you. Hang on a
Okay.
second. Let me do a new share and pull up let me make a new data set. So if you were trying to do this from scratch, and I'm going to do, I seem to be into eye color tonight. Eye color, and what's another nice, easy categorical variable that I can use that has 2 or 3 categories?
I would do like, what I'm looking at is like gender and ethnicity.
Okay, let's do gender. Okay, perfect. And really, let's pretend there's only 2 eye colors and 2 genders, just for the sake of argument. Or, well, we'll do 3 eye colors and 2 genders, just for the sake of argument. So really, there's only, for the sake of showing you how this would work, there's only 6 combinations. Are you able to see my SPSS screen?
I'm not seeing your SPSS screen.
Oh, that's not helpful. Okay, that's not helpful at all. Why not? Oh, I shared the wrong
Sometimes when
one.
you switch between it, there we go, perfect.
Okay, so there's only 6 possible combinations, right? And those are they. So what I could do is this is like a data entry thing, is I could add this other variable called weight and say, oh, I have 20 people who are 1-1s, 35 people who are 2 1s, 23 who were in this, and I could go on. I'm just making up numbers, obviously. And then I could weight each of these cases by weight. So let me show you how that would look. Data, weight cases, weight cases by weight. Okay. And then it's going to go to this output screen, which I don't really want. And then if I analyzed, and let's just say I did a frequencies of eye color, it's not going to come up with only 3 eye colors. It's going to come up with 20 plus 35 plus 23.
Okay.
Do you see that? Are you able to see my output screen, or should I switch?
I understand. I am not seeing it, but I know what you mean. I guess it's just for like a larger data set. Is that still helpful? Or
do you already have your data entered?
Yes.
So I don't know why you would wait. Is there a reason you're I don't know why you would wait.
Right, because when I was in the layered procedure dialogue, it was saying you should weight your cases before you run this test. But
if you have a situation like I think I presented.
Right. So would you say that then it's not necessary to do it since everything is already like inputted towards the end of?
Right, unless there was some special reason. And again, if you think about like, I don't think this is for your data either, but if you think about stratified sampling and you were trying to like weight up or something like that, that might be another situation where you would use it, but I can't think of at least, and I'm obviously not an expert on your data set at all, but I can't think of from my memory of your data set why you would be using weight right there.
Right. It's really just to like what we're in the process of is just ensuring that the participants are matched for like some of these variables like gender.
Oh, no, you don't need to wait for that. No.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Of course. Yeah, anytime.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Okay, you too. Bye. Hi, Lindsay.
Sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, no problem. So we want to chat about the first exam and the fact that you may not be able to. I'm fearing you may not be alone after seeing tonight, because people's computers were crashing and all kinds of problems. So you may not be alone in trying to handle a Zoom session and SPSS at the same time. So let me share with you, and of course I'll share this with everyone else too, that there will be 2 parts to the exam. One part will not require SPSS, and then one part will. So it's the part that you have to use SPSS for is generally more open book. So, I mean, I guess what I'm getting to is like, if we can't do it, we can't do it. And I mean, we could try to come up with some kind of contraption or something to make it work, but I'm inclined to just let you know that, you know, okay, you're allowed to have books, but you can't consult with anyone and those sort of things, and, you know, let you do what you need to do.
Okay, so are you like, is the first part of the test going to be like multiple choice, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, exactly. Like multiple choice or fill in the blank or those sort of things. It wouldn't be, I'm not asking you to do any arithmetic beyond like, you know, the basic probability or something really, you know, basic like that. So like I wouldn't ask you to do like a z-test or a t-test or a single sample by hand ever, you know, that's for the computer to do. So it's just your understanding of the theory and those sort of things mostly. Okay. So that part I suspect, you know, you can do while you're you know, up on Zoom, and then it would just be the second part when you have to open SPSS. And like I said, this may be more than one of you who winds up having to leave Zoom to make the SPSS work. And if that's how it has to be, that's how it has to be, you know. So yeah, I just wanted to touch base with you on that, and you know, make sure you're comfortable with that position as well, unless you had another idea, because I don't have any right now for you.
No, that's perfect. I just wanted to make sure that that would be okay with you. Like if my computer, like I want to sign on and do it just like everyone else, but if
Right.
my whatever situation I'll be in, wherever I'm at the time, or if my computer crashes, like I
Right.
want you to know ahead of time that that's a possibility, and if that would be okay with you if I can finish it that
Yeah.
same night, just not on Zoom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll work that out. We'll work that out. So yeah, we'll allow for some crashing time and then appropriate amount of time after that for people to hopefully finish up. So okay, yeah. So I know you were new to SPSS today. Did it go okay overall for you?
Yeah, I mean, like what we did today, I felt comfortable with.
Good.
I just hope that does it get a lot more complicated than this. I hope that it stays like, you know, pretty straightforward.
I mean, the SPSS part stays straightforward. It's more like checking for assumptions that gets more complicated as time goes on. So it's just like, and it's just a lot of different steps. So if you're good at following like Laird and following like, now I have to check for this, now I have to check for that, you'll be in good shape.
So for the exam, like we won't be able to have like you gave us that tutorial and you told us what to put in. Like, will you give us a tutorial but just not like telling us, like I asked you, like where do I find where I put in the scale? Like we just can't look up that information during the test.
During SPSS part you can, because it's open book.
Oh, okay.
So you technically could look up anything you need to do, but there will be some sort of time restriction on it.
Okay.
So yeah, you should be somewhat familiar, but yes, you can look up whatever you need to.
Okay,
But I
good.
do plan on giving you the full, you know, 3 hours for the full exam, and I think that should be sufficient. I generally don't want people rushing through the exam, but I do want people to have a little bit of familiarity walking in.
Okay, I thought we had to memorize how to do everything on SPSS for the exam.
No, you don't. You don't.
Okay.
But
That's good.
the first part, you're allowed one piece of paper, front and back, of notes. So think about the conceptual stuff we've been talking about, the one-tailed and the two-tailed and the alpha and all that good stuff.
Oh, that's really helpful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm like really, I have like, I don't know if it's like a stereotype bias or like what it is, but anything that has to do with math or numbers, like I have a mental block. Like I don't, like you were like, when you said the basic probability, like I don't even know what that
Oh,
means. Like I don't
okay.
have any words in my head to know anything that has to do with math. So just so you know where I'm coming from.
Yeah, no problem. What I meant by that, just so you know, is like if I was talking about like, let's say an 8-sided die, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8-sided die, and I said, what's the probability of getting a 7 or higher? Then it would be 2 divided by 8 or a quarter or 0.25, and that would be the probability. So that might be something to look over if you're not comfortable with that. But or you can talk with me about during office hour too. I'm happy to do that with you. But most of it, I'm not trying to push math here. Really, I'm trying to push understanding of the background and then of using SPSS.
Yeah, I had to take one like math class in at Penn State, and I thought, because I was like a liberal arts major, and I thought that like a probability class, I thought that would be easier than like an algebra or something like
Right,
that.
right.
It was not at
It was
all.
not.
Not for me, at least. Maybe for other people, but that's definitely something I need to get more. I need to read about it or get like a refresher on it.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, my weakness is like bio and genetics, and in my postdoc, I decided to take this like little summer genetics course. I thought, how bad could it be? It's only a couple weeks, and I swear we were only like into the first day maybe, and I, gleefully asked my question. He's like, yeah, maybe we should start from the beginning. No. So I understand about flocks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, I can appreciate that. But I honestly think, if you look through the lectures we've done so far and, kind of keep up with the SPSS, I think you'll probably be in pretty good shape.
Good, thank you. Like
Yeah, of
seriously,
course.
thank you so much for your help. I feel like so much better about the test now and this SPSS too.
Good. I'm glad that was helpful. Yeah, so keep playing with it and look out in case I give you a little something to work on with it over the next day, like I promised. And I guess I'll see you next time, unless there's
All right.
anything else.
No, that's it from me.
Okay, all right. Have a good one.
Have a great week. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye.